I'd point out first that in the front row is Mackenzie Miller in the red dress with a black sweater. Mackenzie is pregnant today, and with little Lincoln Glenn Miller, who may be a musician one day. We don't know if that's who he's named after. But very early this morning, the ultrasound that's seated to Mackenzie's left was conducted by Mandy Ross on the other side of the ultrasound, right next to Janet Porter. That's kind of our milestone here. And so Mandy Ross proceeded with the procedure of the ultrasound, and we happen to have put that up on tape so you can see this in a compressed form. And I'd ask if they would run the tape up here on your screen to the members left and the audience's, the witnesses right. And you'll see starting in this testimony, it's searching for the heartbeat in the beginning of the ultrasound. There's the heartbeat. Now in a little bit you'll see Lincoln begin to move. Now he's moving. And there that little guy is. See his face and his hands. There's his arm and his face. Mm-hmm. Wonder if Lincoln's going to move that arm and show us how active he can be. Pretty sure Mackenzie knows how active he is. There's a good shot at him. Looks like Rocky on the top of the steps. Move that arm, will you, Lincoln? Show us how busy you are and how you're exercising now. There you go. Suck your thumb. Okay. Get a little hiccup. Oh, that thumb's good, but I can't wait to be born and see what this world's like out here. There he is again. Is he talking to us? Little guy. Are you gonna pass it? I'll just watch Lincoln here. Now he's munching away, or else on his hand. There that little guy is. I'm partial to Lincoln myself. I like that name. That says a lot about freedom and emancipation. I heard Star Parker's testimony about the emancipation of the slaves, and it's time to emancipate every little unborn baby. And
there's a wonderful view of his heart beating there.
I think this transitions into an audio yet for a conclusion. And the theme of this bill is, if a heartbeat is detected, the baby is protected. Lincoln Glenn Miller and all little babies with heartbeats like that. Dr. Altman, you had a comment?
I just wanted to show everyone you could actually see the heart beating.
Oh, yes.
While you were
speaking.
That. Yeah.
But you can see the heartbeat pulse.
Right. You can see it pulsing, which turns off when they put the sound on. You
either have sound or video. And that's what we got, is sound and video, but in its turn. I'd first turn to Professor Forte and say, this bill that defines a heartbeat compared to partial birth abortion ban, other pieces of pro-life legislation you've seen, is there any legislation that's more distinct in its definitions that would go before a court to be precisely analyzed by a potential Supreme Court? Can you think of any legislation that's more precise than the heartbeat legislation?
No, that's what's so attractive about it, to bring the issue directly to the Supreme Court. And apropos of that, and apropos of the film we just saw, according to the attorney's textbook of medicine, 3rd edition, 2015, in the seminal article of Coppola and Coppola, if heartbeat is detected at 6 or 7 weeks, there's a 95% chance that the child will reach term. If it is detected at 14 to 16 weeks, there's a 99% chance it will reach full term. Now, both the partial birth abortion bills and the heartbeat bills had specific scientific definitions of what was at one to be avoided and prohibited, namely the partial birth abortion, and number two, what is to be protected, which is the child who has a beating heart. And the history of both those bills is interesting. Ohio passed the first partial birth abortion bill, and it was struck down, but the states did not give up. 30 states either introduced or passed heartbeat bills, kept knocking at the Supreme Court's door. It failed again in the Nebraska case. But then in the Gonzalez case, when the Congress had passed the partial birth abortion bill, the Supreme Court, by 5-4 vote, passed it, with Justice Kennedy having a very detailed scientific explanation of what happens in a partial birth abortion. The same with heartbeat. Heartbeat's been introduced into 17 states, it's been passed in 3. The momentum is moving. It has gotten to such an extent that the 8th Circuit, when it upheld the summary judgment of striking down the North Dakota heartbeat bill because it intruded on the area before what the court calls viability, the 8th Circuit spent at least a third of its opinion telling the Supreme Court it's time to revisit its jurisprudence on viability. Now, when the lower courts begin telling the Supreme Court that they've been wrong, you know something is afoot.
Thank you, Professor. I appreciate that. My time has expired.